So wait a minute. Your username is literally Stranger Danger.
All right, Wardawg. Me and you've been playing for a little while now, about a year and a half, year.
Yeah,
Oh,
ish. Yep.
yeah. We came. We had an odd fucking coming together. It was chasing. I think you and Vito, or no, you and Pariah for bounties. Then ran into you, Vito, and Dirty, and everybody else and stuff like that. And just so happened, nice turn of events is I was in between orgs. Just left one org and was just getting my feet wet with piracy and stuff like that, and then ran into you guys who ended up being with chaos, man. How long have you been playing?
I mean, I've been pledged since 2014, but probably realistically only been playing since like the three patches. Um, yeah, probably even like I don't remember which three patch, but it was in the three somewhere.
Nice. How long after you started playing did you say I'm gonna try this piracy stuff out?
Oh, like many, it was the mongrel videos for me that did it. I think it was around late 316 that I ended up, you know, kind of getting bored with the regular loop, and then I came across one of those mongrel videos. Ended up watching the whole reel of them, and then that was it. I had the pirate itch, and I wanted to yo ho ho from then on.
This is the days that there was no physicalized cargo, nothing. Huh? It was all
Yeah,
extortion stuff. Yeah, that's when
yeah,
about the same time I started. I think I started in 317. As not as late as you. I think I backed at the end of either 316 or right. I think it was right when 317 came live. I think I had just missed it by like a week or so.
right.
And I think I did the same thing as everybody else, man. I came in and spent like the first like 3 hours just trying to figure out how the hell to get to my goddamn ship. Then when I got there, it took about 3 seconds or so for me to just slam into the wall and blow up. I think I turned the
That
game off for like a week.
sounds like the classic starting experience.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I remember flying this thing out here and flying to like my first bounty. It's like, all right, I finally figured everything out. I think I can go take these guys out. This is just very low risk, so it can't be that hard. And I think I got fucking worked by a damn Aurora, my
Yep,
Titan or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, dude, this is this is
that
different.
also sounds about right. The
Yeah, I
combat
mean,
was, yeah,
I
for a
didn't
new
have
player, it was crazy.
I jumped into it blindly. I didn't really have anybody that I knew that played this and stuff like that. It was just like, oh, this looks pretty cool, and I've heard about this. And when I started playing, I was like, you could do a bunch of stuff in here. Do mining and bunkers and stuff like that. And once I started, like looking more into it, I was like, well, wait a minute, you could be like a legit pirate and stuff. I was like, well, this is pretty neat. I was like, I'll check this out. I'll give it a go, and then realize, yeah, this is just the game alone is a lot harder than I thought it was to get my feet wet. But once you do, it's fun, man.
Yeah, the learning curve is well worth uh, the effort for sure.
So compared to 316, 317, all the way up to like 322, because I mean, we did get like physicalized cargo and stuff, and a lot has changed since then. But I think the biggest change we've had recently is with 323 now is master modes across the board for everything. It's no longer in Arena Commander, it's no longer a test, it's in the game now. How is that affecting piracy either for the good or the bad, or what has it changed in your opinion?
Um, well, with it slowing everything down, I guess, in my opinion, it's actually kind of made it easier, especially with slowing cargo ships down the way they have. Um, like, I mean, I agree that they kind of needed a nerf anyway. The cargo ship maneuverability and speed, like they're big cargo ships carrying a lot of heavy cargo. They shouldn't be as nimble as some of them were. Like the cat was probably where it should have been, but the C2, for example, was really nimble for its size. So master modes has really hit those ships with a hammer and kind of put them. I don't know. Maybe they overcorrected a little bit on it, but it seems like it's a lot slower. It's a lot easier. They've given us more dampener range on our dampening ships, so you can sit a little further away and still not have to worry about them getting away off of the outpost hop or something like that. Um, yeah, in general, I'd say it's actually a little bit easier.
Yeah, and I'll agree that some things are nice, like the blue going from 2 kilometers to 4 kilometers, especially with the slower speeds where you can't
Yep.
be as evasive. Yeah, it is nice to have that. The other thing too is, yeah, I agree. The cat, to me, the cat always flew what, like a big, and it's really like not really a super big ship. It's long.
Like
It
you
looks
think it
really
would.
big. Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels like it would. It feels kind of like, like a yacht in real life. It's not as fast and nimble. Um, you got to kind of think about what you're doing and stuff like that. To get those nice landings and stuff like that. It felt good. And that's why,
Yeah.
like before, when we used to play, like I'd take out like the C2 or the A2 or whatever, and I'd always refer to it as like the extra heavy fighter because
Yeah.
the damn thing was just too maneuverable, man, for what it
It was.
was. I mean, you could just sit there and keep up with almost everything. I mean, unless somebody was in a light fighter, and if they were in a light fighter, they had to be a semi-competent pilot at that. But you get somebody slipping up, you can put a hurt on them
Oh yeah.
with a damn C2, and that's cargo ship. It's the biggest cargo ship, and it's those kind of changes I think make it feel right. I
Yeah.
think for master modes, like we're not gonna get into like the whole like is this great or bad because that's been beat to death. That's a dead horse on Spectrum and Reddit and a
Hmm.
1,001 other videos. But in relation to piracy, it's kind of nice too because when we have run across some people with multi crew and stuff like that, not being able to zip away as fast kind of makes you think of like the approach and the angles and stuff and like who's drawing fire. I mean, I know before we used to always try to like kite the ships out of Atmo,
Yep.
and usually it'd be one of us that would just get on the nose of a C2 and bait them up, and you could get away with that simply because while the C2 was maneuverable, it didn't have the top speed or the acceleration that the Mantis or a Blue or somebody in a fighter did, and
Yep.
we can kind of zip around if things got a little too sketchy. And now with master modes, being that you're kind of locked in SCM speed and you don't really have, I mean, you have the boost, but you don't have as much maneuverability for those quick little get the hell out of there actions. It kind of makes you rethink things, and it's kind of, to me, it's like I said, I'm not gonna say master modes is great, but it is kind of nice to have a new way to play this, whether it helps us or doesn't. It's kind of nice because you're kind of like relearning the basic mechanics, and
Yeah.
hopefully over time, when they start finally going in there and tuning the ships, I think individually instead of more like this blanket master mode thing they did, I think it'll be okay. Um, but I'm indifferent. I like it, but in the sense of piracy, I like it because it does bring those fights in closer. It does kind of, before, we've experienced it before. You get a hit and you get one guy comes in who's just a damn good pilot, can go out there and take on 3 or 4
Yeah.
people, no problem. And now skill is
We can
still there.
tackle
Yeah,
them.
now their skill is still there. They're by all means. There's people who spent, hours and hours grinding to get good at that craft and stuff like that are still gonna have the upper hand. But it it kind of makes it now where it's almost forced. I don't want to say multi-crew, but forced group play. Like you have to like be able to either have friends, or if you're like an industrialist, you're gonna have to like call for help and just hope that anybody can come, and just get numbers out there because the numbers
Yeah.
can turn the tide now, which is is
Definitely.
kind is kind of nice.
Yep. Yep. It's promoting uh more team play for sure. Um, Numbers will give you a significant advantage in combat.
Now
It
go.
doesn't seal the deal, but it does give you an advantage.
Oh yeah, but now talking about the multi-crew and the numbers and stuff like that, though, what are you thinking about? They're testing the engineering now in Arena Commander. Now, how do you think that's going to affect the industrialist and the pirates now?
Hmm. Now I haven't been in to test the engineering, but I've heard about it and I've seen a little bit about it. Um, with the TTK up, time to kill up, in general, I think that the engineering is going to give that a boost. If you have competent engineers that are able to address the ship issues as you're taking damage, I think your TTK is going to go up even higher, which is good for larger multi-crew ships. Um, I think it'll offer some crazy engaging battles. Um, but I don't know if I don't know what it'll mean for pirates per se. I guess maybe longer battles, and the industrialists will have a chance to call for help, like a longer time to call for help, and maybe that's the advantage that they need. But for pirates, because most pirates don't go in the larger ships, though there are some options now, and we might be messing around with uh, some tests with multi-crew piracy. But for pirates right now, as we run it anyway, uh, the engineering isn't really. I don't think it's going to affect us too much.
Yeah, I think it's going to have more of a positive effect for the industrialists, the cargo traders, and stuff like that. If you have to have somebody on your ship now, because now that gives you an extra body or two that if
Hmm.
you do come across pirates or something, you're going to have for the most part now. I mean, depending how involved the engineering aspect of it is and stuff like that. But I guess in a pinch, they can go revert from being an engineer to jump in a turret real quick, try to get some of the heat off, you know. So
Yeah.
it'll almost kind of encourage or almost require some of these guys in these bigger ships in here to have these crew members here that while they might be there for the engineering role, still have to fill in that multifaceted role of I might have to jump in a turret every now and then to kind of get some of this heat off and stuff, and then when need be, leave the turret and go do what I got to do for the engineer stuff. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
for us, like, yeah, I mean, we don't, we're usually in smaller ships and stuff, and I think really anything bigger than a Cuddy Blue and stuff like that is the biggest we'll use. And but we'll see. It's going to be interesting because I mean we do have the whole logistics department too that has to worry about that kind of stuff too with the
Yep.
reclaimers and the transport ships. So that's going to be
That's
something
true.
that's more, yeah, it's going to be more affected on their end over there because I think that's something that a lot of uh a lot of players in the game don't realize that pirate orgs are not just a bunch of guys like me and you that go out there and shoot people and take your boxes. There is obviously groups, small groups that do that and stuff, and they all kind of
Yep.
share the roles amongst themselves. But there is a lot of these pirate groups that either have their own logistical departments of guys that don't really do any piracy per se. They're only
Hmm.
there for the salvage and the cargo sales and stuff like that. Um, so it's kind of crazy to think about, how for us something like that we think might not affect us is still going to affect our group in the long run. So
Yeah.
interesting to see how it's going to be. It's kind of weird too that uh, bringing that up here is it's another topic that I want to talk to you about. It's what do you think the industrialist has such like disdain for pirates? Like why do you think we have such a bad rap against you know
Um,
the normal industrialists, the miners, the cargo traders and stuff?
I think the answer is pretty simple there. I mean, it's because we steal their shit. um, Yeah, I like pirates. In general, I mean, if you go back to pirates on the seas, they were not liked um, by the common industrialist nations and people and all that stuff. But yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. We interrupt their their loop. Um, we destroy their ship. We take their their cargo. We take their um, armor and their gear and get up if we've done that. We're just a nuisance. So they just want to get out there and do their thing and not be harassed. And we don't allow that, and that's why they don't like us.
But now the flip side to that is it really that difficult to avoid pirates?
Um, No, it's not. Space is big. Even Stanton is big if you know how to um, move in it. There
Yep.
are all kinds of things that you can do. Dog legs probably being the most effective of them. Just not going on the straight shot routes that give you the quickest and easiest uh, outs for your industrialism, whatever you're doing, your mining, just going to sell at this place or going to refine at this place, just not going straight directly to every place is probably the biggest thing that you can do to avoid being pirated. And and it's easy, but so many people don't want to do it. I don't know if it's just a laziness thing or they just don't know yet or what, but it is not hard to avoid being pirated.
You know what's funny is long time ago, and it's still relevant today, but now it's thing more spread out around the system. But like Arc L1 used to be the big spot for miners going to the belt and stuff like that. And you wouldn't set up obviously to try to catch them going to or from the belt. You wanted to catch them after they were finding their goods. So you would set up the snare between Arc L1 and Arccore, while they're going to Area 18. It's not a long jump, it's a relatively quick jump for any ship to make. And you'd be surprised how many people don't bother just to randomly pick any other marker in space when they leave Arc L1
Yep.
and dogleg out to get to Area 18, and you're almost 100% guaranteed not to get caught in at least a player snare. There's always a chance you run into the NPC snares, and quite honestly, once you get snared, all you got to do is just nose up or down to avoid the dead ships in front of you, and just calibrate again and leave, because by the time they wake up, the snare's not even active.
Yeah.
It's amazing how it relatively is easy to avoid being pirated. Now, there is the issue if you're going to be trying to trade like the high value commodities like RMC. To me, those industrialists, those traders that get caught doing that and then want to go out there and have throw a shitstorm about it. It's honestly, to me, it's because of greed, because there are a bunch of different commodities that you could trade in Star Citizen. You can't get mad if you're getting the most high reward commodity and that's what you're getting caught with, because I still know a bunch of people who do nothing but just like the space truck and cargo trade, and they don't go for RMC. They go for barrel. They go for whatever the hell they can get at one of these other mining posts, because they're in it more just for the experience of flying to a place, landing, grabbing their cargo, going back to a TDD, and selling. So to me, it's like it's part of it is like you said, it's not preparing yourself, because everybody always says, and it's the big beam about hire escorts and stuff, and hire escorts is great. It's nice to have somebody go pre-scout a location for you, because really the most dangerous part, I think, in trading is actually buying the commodity. For example, at Pickers or something, if you can make it to the ground at Pickers, load up your ship, and then hit, exit the atmosphere where you can jump, you've already bypassed like 90% of the danger. Yeah. Because that's where I think really everybody's waiting. There is a chance of snare lines, but if you've made it out of atmosphere and you jump and dogleg somewhere else, I mean, you're in the money. You're good.
Yep. Pretty much
free and clear. And I think it could work where industrialists, I think, even if you like to play alone, still join an org, join on friends, so you're at least in the same server, and you don't have to play with them. You don't have to party up with them, but you guys can send each other, a coded message in global chat or on Discord. Say, hey guys, I'm in this server now. Pickers was clear. I was just there 10 minutes ago, to let everybody else know that, hey, it's relatively safe there. Because I do know that there is a lot of industrialists that do like to play alone, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you can't be mad, I don't think, at a pirate for doing what they do, because like you said, we know that we're not going to be everybody's biggest fan. Like we're not, people are not going to like us. Yeah. And we get it. We're an inconvenience. We take your time, we take your cargo, we take your credits. But at the same time, too, the flip side is I think a lot of industrialists don't realize the amount of time that goes into piracy. Because to me, there's pirates, and then there's opportunistic pirates. And the opportunistic pirate is those guys that just kind of fly around. Maybe they're looking for some PvP. Maybe they're just looking around to cause some trouble, and they happen across a cargo ship or somebody doing some trading. There's the people like us that there's nights that me, you, and 10 other people have sat there, hopping servers, looking around, running snare lines, active hunting to different locations, and we get goose eggs, And then there's nights that we log on and it's just nonstop, action. So I think honestly it's just the industrialists don't understand and haven't seen it from our end over here to understand what it really is like going through piracy. Because is it profitable now? Yeah, you could make some money for it, but you're gonna spend a lot of time to earn that money. A lot of time that same cargo trader is probably making a lot more credits than you are. So
his bank account at the end of the day is probably still larger than my bank account. So
absolutely. And in reality is it's you hear it on Spectrum and Reddit, and you see the videos out there about, pirates or griefers, and I'm getting pirated, all this and that. And then reality is when you ask them, well, when's the last time you were pirated? Well, once in 3 years that I've been playing. It's like,
Right.
I mean, let's come on now. That's nonsense, I mean,
Yeah.
reality, the fact of the matter is I think most players, especially like, the heavy industrialists that all they do is trade and mine and salvage and stuff like that. It's extremely rare, even being sloppy, that you'll get pirated. It's extremely rare that you're going to get pirated twice within the same week or two or month or whatever, and by then you've had how many successful sells and trades. So
Exactly.
it's one of those things where, I think it's a case of the internet blowing things out of proportion.
Oh, definitely.
And I know you agree and I agree. We both know the moment that guy in the C2 sees that he's being interdicted, he sees that he can't jump, he starts seeing a bunch of targets pop on his, we know he's going to have a bad day. We know he's not happy, but at the same time, we don't do it to necessarily be assholes. We just do it because that's just the game loop. It's part of the system of what we have to do.
It's never anything personal.
And honestly, a side note to anybody who doesn't know is there's a really good number of people, not just in Chaos Squad, but in many pirate orgs, that the reason they got into that org was because they were pirated.
Yep, that's
I mean,
true.
that's honestly probably the biggest recruitment tool that I've seen, not just amongst us, but amongst other orgs itself, is people who either been, same thing with PvP orgs. Most of these guys that join PvP orgs, not because they are browsing Spectrum looking for orgs, it's because they ran into some of these guys, had some good fights or whatever, and then got invited or joined their servers and made some friends. And it's the same with the pirates here.
Yep.
That's
Yeah, they get a certain protection from being with the pirates too. So
and there's honestly a lot of industrialist orgs too that have nothing to do when it comes. They have no piracy amongst themselves, but they are aligned and friends with pirate orgs, and they kind of work as I don't want to say a sister org, but they work kind of hand in hand, where they'll just get the calls out from the pirates saying, "Hey, we got a C2. If you guys got anybody online that wants to come salvage it," and they'll kind of pass off the salvage rights and work hand in hand, even though that org doesn't partake per se in piracy,
Yep.
But they work hand in hand.
Pirates want a pirate, right? Pirates want a pirate, so they give the other stuff to the industrialists because that's what they want to do. Maybe take a slice of it and get back to pirating.
Yep. So with all that though, you've been doing this a little while. I've been doing it, a little while too. There's people that have been doing this a lot longer than us, are probably far more knowledgeable. But I think we have our fair share of experience when it comes to this over here. There's a lot of new people coming to the game now with 322, 323 and stuff like that, especially with, Pyro supposedly coming out, this year, whatever. There's a lot of people who are interested in piracy. What advice would you give them, Wardawg?
What advice? Learn to fly. Seriously though, flying is a basic skill, but it is important to master it as much as you can, especially with QED pilots. If you're going to catch something on your own, you're going to need to hold out until your pirate buddies get there. And flying closely to something so that it can't nose onto you can be the difference between life and death. So, flying is probably one of the biggest things. The basics in general. Just kind of brush up on your basics before diving headfirst into piracy, because it is a dangerous and difficult game loop. And then, I mean, it would be getting in with a good group of like-minded individuals, and having the right tools for the job, the right ships and stuff for the job. And I don't know if you wanted to go over all the ships, but that would be the base advice that I would give.
Well, that'll segue into it now here. What do you, because the thing is, you can pirate by yourself. Solo piracy can be done. It is very difficult, to pull it off. It's not a small feat by any means, because even if you were somehow, me and you've done this many times, where you do either snare or board a ship. It's the logistics of it now. It's like, how do I get this cargo off onto my ship to be able to sell? How do I get out of here exactly? So there's a lot of stuff, but let's not talk about the solo stuff, because that's a whole nother topic to me, because that really is going into the weeds on details, because that is so scenario dependent on how you can pull that off. But for
Definitely.
group pirates, you can do this in two or threes. So let's say small group pirates here. What would you recommend for a new player, their composition of a new crew of, let's say, two or three guys?
2 or 3 guys. Well, let's say 3, as 3 is always better than 2. You need your QED for sure. The style of hunting is gonna determine what, QED you use. You've got the blue and the Antares for, kind of active dampening type of thing, and then you've got the Mantis that has the snare and the dampener. And I like what they did with the snare and the dampener in 323. They've really separated it now, so it feels like two different utilities, two separate utilities. Now the snare catches and doesn't doesn't keep them from using their top nav speeds, but it does keep them from jumping while they're in the 20-kilometer bubble. So you have to catch them, then take down the snare and activate the dampener, and the dampener only has a 12-kilometer range. So if you catch them outside of that 12-kilometer range and you can't close the distance in time, you lose them. That's just it. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yep.
So you don't always get them anymore. Before it was kind of an all-in-one, and as soon as you caught them, they were caught. That was it. They ain't getting away. So that was a cool change. I like that. But as far as the composition goes, yeah, you got to have your QED, and then I would say I- personally, like, there's different ways to go about it. I mean, if one of your guys wants to run Logi, you can throw him in a ship that's ready on the go to take cargo, and then throw your third guy in a fighter because you definitely want some DPS. Personally, I would go two DPS. I would go a QED and two DPS, and then have one of your DPS switch out for a cargo ship once you get a hit. Um, this is it's it's preference because there's danger either way. If you only have one DPS ship, I mean, if the target you're hitting has a turret gunner, or if he calls in some backup, one DPS ship might not be enough. I mean, you do get some DPS from your QED as well, but even still, it might not be enough. Um, but if you have two DPS ships in addition to your QED, and you do have enough DPS, and you take them out, and you're ready to load up. Now you've got to waste time going to get your logistics ship and bring it back, and that could be all the time they need to regroup, come back, and kill you, and take their stuff back. So it's a juggling act. Time is never a pirate's friend, but that's the route I would go. I would still go with the two DPS and a QED, and then have one of the DPS swap out for logistics.
Now, with that, the first thing you said is getting your pilot skill on point, where you're competent enough to go out there and perform all the basic tasks. On that same footnote, would you consider pirates PvPers per se? And I'm not talking about, because piracy is PvP. We're not interdicting and pirating NPCs, so that's not in the game right now. So piracy is PvP, but is it PvP in the sense of combat PvP, ship combat PvP? Do you consider pirates PvPers, or do you think it's a different distinction? Because according to Spectrum and Reddit and a lot of people you talk to, seems like pirates are always getting lumped together with the PvPers. Is there more of a distinction to you?
Yeah, I would say that there is. I think there's a line there. There's now some PvPers are pirates. I can say that, and some pirates are not PvPers. They like, I mean, killing a cargo ship is one thing. Getting in a dogfight and doing PvP with people that do PvP is a completely different ballgame. So yeah, I would say that there's a definite line there, and some pirates don't even like PvP. They don't like to do the dogfighting. They just like to do the hit and get the goodies and move on and do it again and again. Um, they won't, like, I mean, they'll defend the hit if it comes to it, but they don't necessarily like doing that part of it. Um, so yeah, definitely a line for sure.
Yeah, see, we've been playing for a long time over here, and I even to this day now, I consider myself like a PvP enjoyer. I'm not a PvPer per se. I enjoy the aspect of PvP, but there are, and it's happened many times before, there are guys that are just naturally good at this or have put in a ton of hours and work practicing and training to get, to the highest of the high levels that you can in the game, within the mechanics and stuff. So I don't consider, at least in my opinion, pirates to be PvPers per se. I think that PvP is a skill that is needed, and you need to be proficient in it. And like you said, there are PvPers that are pirates and they're damn good at both things, But, I think for the average person, they don't have to get the fear that you have to be, the top, 3% of, arena commander or of PvP to be able to be a pirate. Is because, like you said, what you're going after is cargo ships and stuff that, while some of them can put up a damn fight, especially if they got turret gunners or maybe running with an escort and stuff like that, you're not going against those standalone PvP guys that all they do is fly whatever the meta fighter is with hundreds of thousands of hours in the seat of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things where I think some people get scared because they get worried about, well, I got to go out there and get into all these dog fights and stuff just to bring this ship down, and I'm not that good at PvP. I mean, really, this game is just like any game that's out there. There's a natural skill, hand-eye coordination, all that stuff plays in a big factor of it. But I think what a lot of people fail to remember too, and this goes for the industrialist too, is that spend some time in Arena Commander, spend some time if at the least doing some of the PVE, the higher end PVE bounty missions, especially now that they're not as brain dead as before. Yeah, because everybody should be able to feel like they're somewhat capable to maybe not go out there and wipe an entire squadron of people, but at least have the confidence and the ability to go out there and know that if I need to, I might be able to hold my own until I can get more people here to
Yeah.
help me. And I think that goes for both industrialists and pirates too, is that they kind of fail to realize that, you get into this loop of, I just jump in the big cargo ship, fly down, fly somewhere else and land, and go hit a button on a terminal, and they don't spend any other time out there practicing some of the other skills they might need in case it does go south. I mean, and some of them might just say, I don't care if it goes south. And we've had it before where the moment you interdict somebody and the first round hits their ship, they combat log. They don't care. They write it off. They want nothing
Or
to do with it,
self-destruct.
or self-destruct, and that's, listen, as crappy as I might think it is, or you or anybody else thinks it is, that's their own decision. I can't force other players to sit there and defend their ship to the last breath and stuff like that. Some people do it, some people don't. It is what it is.
Mhm.
It's PvPers experience the same damn thing too when they're out there trying to fight. At, let's say, Jump Town or something, and they get an org controlling the place, and the moment a couple good PvPers come in there and kill one or two guys, the people that are left there, the moment they start getting shot at, they just alt F4 as well. And it kills, kills their, I don't want to say their fun. It just kills their game loop, because that's what they're there for. Because fun is really subjective. What's fun to me might not be fun to you or the
Right.
industrialist or the PvPer. But I just think it's going forward. I think people need to realize that sometimes you do have to branch out. Just like you said, piracy is like one of those jack of all trades and a master of none kind of things. And I
Mhm.
think it can be applied for the industrialist as well here, where it's you're really good at landing a cat and a Hercules in a tight little area, but get good at defending it too and flying it
Yeah.
evasively and buying time, because that's going to help you out.
Definitely.
Right now for 323, I know every patch, everything changes up, ships and loadouts and stuff like that. What ship are you liking right now for 323 for master modes for piracy? What is, you had to pick one ship right now where let's just say the Mantis out of the picture, or it's in the picture if you want to, but let's say somebody's running QED and you have free reign to pick the secondary ship of whatever you want. What are you going to jump in?
Yeah, because I was gonna say the blue. So yeah, good that you specified that. Yeah, that is a great question. I think for right now, the buck is in a great spot for piracy with the speed. Um, got a lot of top speed. It's got a lot of acceleration. It's got a lot of guns.
Oh yeah.
Um, it still splashes pretty easy, but not as brittle as it was when it had that nose bug going on. Um, But yeah, no, I think it's in a really good spot where you're able to engage and disengage at will, without, like, if you're competent in how the buck works, you can take minimal damage while you're doing that and just kind of do strafing runs on targets, while the rest of your crew is engaged, and you can really turn the tide, on any particular target, that's getting focused.
Yeah, it is pretty nice to see with master modes. Like I said, it's a big blanket master mode right now. We know that the ships don't all have like individual tuning, but it is kind of cool to see things like, especially the buck, like you're saying, the interceptor class actually
Yeah.
means something. Because I would lump that in as well with like the warlock and stuff like that. The
Yep.
warlock is actually fun to fly again. I mean, let's not talk about the distortion damage and the EMPs because
Or
those still need
flying it in
work.
Atmo.
Yeah, or an Atmo. But having an interceptor class where you realize like these ships were designed to be under boost conditions faster than
Yeah.
the average ship to catch up and close that gap. It's kind of cool to see that aspect finally mean something because before interceptor class meant nothing. It just meant that maybe you had a little higher top speed.
Yeah. You're
Now,
still out there
yeah,
jousting or whatever.
now it's nice because now with crew compositions and stuff like that, I mean, the F7A, MK2, everybody's flying that around. I like it. It's a great ship. A lot of guns, a lot of firepower. Medium fighters are feeling pretty nice now. I mean, they were feeling pretty nice,
Yep.
in 322. It was nice to see them come around. Whether even though it was a bug that the Hornets had, it felt good. They felt nice. And in master modes, they don't feel bad. They feel pretty decent. But it's nice to know that you can be in an F7A, uh, and if you try to bail from a fight, something like a Buccaneer can close that gap and in essence, finish you off if you don't you're not evasive enough or whatnot. But it's nice to
Yep.
know that there's a balance there where you can't just go out there and just like the F8. Everybody had F8s when they came out over
Oh
here
god,
with their
yeah.
tanky shields and you just face tank people and just now it's nice to know that if you're in an F8, you can no longer outrun you know
Yep.
everybody now if you're hurting and you need to get away, well, you should have thought about that when you first realized that you were getting hurt.
Yep.
And if you try to string it out saying no, I'm good, I'll just tank it. Well, no, you're not so good anymore. So it it is nice to see those balances come in here because it does play into crew composition now, and it changes what we were before. Because before we all knew that if we had somebody flying a Mantis or a Cuddy Blue, then we're all just going to jump in Hornets or Arrows or Gladiuses. Now it's kind of nice to think of the composition now, where you're saying, I enjoy flying the Buck, even though
Yes.
it's made with duct tape and zip ties and stuff like that. It
Yep.
it looks cool. It's an interceptor. It's fast. It has a lot of DPS for it. As long as, like you said, you fly it how it's supposed to be flown, more for
Yep.
strafing runs and stuff. You're not going to sit there and try to knife fight in it. Um, but it's nice to see that crew composition come in there now where you can kind of go out there and know that I'm flying this not just because I like this ship, but because this ship has a purpose and
Yep.
it fits into this composition now, which is nice. That's really nice.
Yep. They're going a step in the right direction with that stuff.
Yeah, I think we still obviously this is CIG terminology like tier zero.
Early.
It's
Yeah.
it's gonna take a while for them to iron this out, and hopefully they do iron it out for the better. I'm sure they could make it worse. I mean, CIG, we wouldn't be surprised if they screw something up and make it worse. But if they stay at it and kind of go for what they want, which is to truly make it more of a balanced and uh, realistic or whatever the hell terminology you want to use flight experience, as long as they can keep tuning things here with the input from the community to make it the best. We're never going to make everybody happy, but where it makes the overwhelming majority feel comfortable in it, I think we'll be
Yep.
all right.
Yep.
um Another question for you now, because it doesn't really have to do with master modes, but with the updates now, with master modes coming in, we're getting a lot of updates since Citizen Con of last year. um How do you feel about them saying Pyro's coming out with 4.0? How do you think that's
Oh,
how do you think that's going to change the landscape of piracy?
I mean, I said space was big already. It's gonna get bigger. Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. I'm pretty excited about it, and the fact that they're trying to push for it in the next quarter is crazy to me. But yeah, I just don't know what. Like I played the little pyro test there during CitizenCon, but I didn't really do a lot. I kind of looked around at the landscapes and mostly just visual. So I don't really know what there's going to be available for traders and stuff to do. As far as if there's going to be a uh, a juicy cargo line or multiple juicy cargo lines, if there's going to be any new commodities out there, anything like that. I don't know about any of that stuff yet. So it's hard to give that answer now.
Yeah.
Ask me after it releases when I've got I've been able to take a bite out of it. But I'm hoping that it creates some new lines, some new lines to snare. That'd be nice. Some new places to hunt. Um, I mean, Pyro's huge, right? So there's definitely going to be a lot to do there, but it's going to take more time to get in between everything. So logistically, we'll have to consider that kind of thing, time wise. I have a feeling that a lot of the industrialists think that all of the pirates are just going to flock to Pyro when it's released, but pirates are going to flock wherever the cargo is.
Absolutely.
That's kind of how that works. So
I think that's been the biggest misconception that's been spread for a while now on all the the Spectrum and Reddit and YouTube and stuff, is that they think that once Pyro opens up, that all the pirates and all the PvPers are just gonna go to Pyro and stay in Pyro. And
yeah,
maybe the PvP orgs might, because there's no comms, and it's maybe easier for them. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to worry about Klesher and stuff like that, and they're gonna be fighting other PvP orgs. But for pirates, because we're not. I'm not, like I said, I know a lot of PvP guys and I respect a lot of them and stuff, and got no issue with them. I love playing with them. I love going to Arena Commander and just getting my ass stomped in there. It makes me better pilot at the
yep,
end of the day. But I know for pirates, we're gonna go where the money is. And like you
yeah,
said, if they got juicy lines in Pyro where there is a higher risk, higher reward commodity, then we're gonna go there. But if
sure,
Stanton ends up being where the money's at, we're gonna be in Stanton making the money, because
you
that's where
got
we
it.
got to go.
Yep, yep, fully agree. That's that it's yet to be seen. We'll have to kind of take take note of it as it happens. But I have a feeling that there's still going to be a lot of piracy to be done in Stanton after Pyro releases.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, but like I said, it's gonna be it's gonna give us some of that exploration we wanted. We have to actually go out there and explore some of these lines and
Yeah,
locations and stuff. And I think it's gonna be a good breath of fresh air for everybody here. Because even if we're not doing piracy, it's not like we're just gonna stay at Stanton because that's where the money is right away. We're still gonna go out there and explore it and see
oh
what's
yeah,
going on and popping. So I think Pyro, if it does release, especially like you said, the next quarter, or, by the end of this year, we'll be generous here. If they
hmm,
actually do release it by the end of the year, and it's what it was in the playtest, except obviously more refined and more
yep,
filled in and stuff like that. I think we're in a good spot. I mean, so far,
yeah,
we said it last year after CitizenCon. They made a lot of bold promises, and they kind of
mhm,
set themselves up to be like a make or break year. And so far, yeah, we're 6 months, a little more than 6 months from CitizenCon, I think. And have they delivered everything? No. But in comparison to the previous years of CIG's history,
oh yeah,
I think we're moving at a rabbit's pace now, and it's pretty nice to see. And I hope that they had to delay those persistent hangers and stuff like that. I hope they do get to push that out in one of the next point patches and stuff like they're trying to. I hope Pyro does come out, because I really do think that that's going to give a lot of uh, goodwill on CIG's end over here to the backers that have honestly at this point rightfully kind of just been disappointed with the lack of progress and stuff.
yeah,
12 years is a long time. I mean, well, it is, but it isn't a long time in development. But 12 years of promises is a long
yeah.
time. And the whole
For
thing is, if it was 12 years of just development, I don't think the backers would have too many problems. It's 12 years of a lot of delays, failed promises, missed promises, and just, flat out, they say something and then they say they didn't say it. So I think, CIG still has a road ahead of them to kind of, rebuild that trust, with everybody, not just the new backers that are bringing in the money now and some of the old backers and stuff. But Pyro, I think, is a good step in that direction. It's gonna be good to see what it's gonna do for the industrialists and the pirates and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, with the lion's share of developers coming over from Squadron 42, I feel like the pace is the way it should be now for content coming out, and I'm definitely enjoying the amount of content that we're getting. So
Oh yeah.
look forward to it.
So, all right, we're running already kind of a little longer than we wanted to this next. We wanted to kind of keep this short and simple. So let's try to end it on one last, let's say, quick question.
All right.
What ship that has been currently announced or rumored or whatever are you looking forward to, let's say, to come out as soon as possible? We're not going to say when, but do you have anything you're looking at right now, uh, you know, that you're looking at that you say this is going to be a really good ship that CIG's brought out or bringing out? I'm excited to see it and stuff. Whether it pertains
Um,
to piracy or just in general, doesn't really matter.
well, they kind of quashed my dreams on the Zeus MR. They said it was going to be the last one of the Zeuses to come out, and it's kind of sounding more like uh, 2025 type of thing now. So that was a bit of a bummer because I was really looking forward to that one. But other than that one, I think they're working on the rest of the RSI ships too, and I have a Galaxy. I don't usually fly big ships, but I'm really looking forward to the base building module of it. And I know that that's another feature altogether, but I'm also looking forward to base building for sure.
So that's when they even tier zero for that. That's going to be a really cool mechanic put into the game. Assuming it works at CIG. God knows
Yeah,
you probably build an outpost and fall through the
it
floor
sinks.
of it. Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, the fact that they announced the Galaxy as being base building and stuff, and the ability to be able to go out there like we had talked about before and stuff, and like you're saying now with Pyro and stuff, it's to be really cool to go out there and kind of set up your own little pirate outpost, in the middle of
Yes.
nowhere, where only you and your select group of people know where it is and stuff, and instead of having to offload hits into a cargo ship right away and take them to Grim Hex or something to sell, you can
Dump it.
have dump it at the outpost there and have like a you know like the old pirates that you'd see like pictures of and stuff like that, like
Bit of a horde.
the cartoon pirates with just treasure chests and
Yeah.
coins and jewels and everything everywhere. You can just have boxes
Yeah.
of RMC and Laronite and all kinds of crap laying around your outposts and stuff. So I think that's going to be fun. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was hoping for the Zeus as well, but we'll see.
Yeah. Base building kind of brings like a trickle down effect because base building is going to require crafting, and crafting requires uh, specific things, right? So that's going
Yep.
to introduce supply and demand, which is going to be a big thing for piracy as well. So all of that rolled into one is kind of what I'm looking forward to.
I have a feeling that, like you said, with the base building and crafting and stuff, that's gonna also force them to really either deploy the actual, what is it, quantum market or whatever, or
Mhm.
redo the market because, like you said, supply and demand. Because right now, the only supply and demand we have is just what can you sell at a TDD from a commodity, and like with the RMC exploit right now, where everybody's selling, places like Area 18 aren't buying any RMC.
Yeah.
So if you're, trying to build a base and you have certain commodity that's in excess and you want to sell some of that off or trade it off at a TDD or an outpost or someplace because you need another commodity, that market kind of needs to be there because, you don't want everything kind of just saying you can only buy so much of this and it's shared across all servers. You kind of want to make it lucrative where if like, you have a little bit of extra something, that maybe I should just hold on to this and then, wait till I go to a certain place to sell because it's worth more over there, or I can get more trade for it over there for another commodity I need and
Yeah.
kind of build that, like you said, economy up, which, kind of falls back to crafting and stuff like that. So I think the base building is going to bring a lot more changes in the back end than people, I think, realize. It's going to bring obviously the changes now where now you can build an outpost and a base and stuff. But I think, like you said, the crafting, the trading, the economy changes to it, I think, will also have some pretty good effects on the game.
Yeah, if they can't figure out the quanta thing like they wanted to, then they need to give the players more. they need to put the economy in the hands of the players more, so that players can run those goods to those locations. Like there could be pop-up notifications saying that HDMS Hadley on Hurston requires this type of thing, and then players will run it there to stockpile it, and then it's based on actual player-driven supply and demand.
Yeah, I think a player run economy like that would be
Yeah,
great. I mean, it's honestly it's great for pirates because you know where commodities are needed, and it's one of those like, hey, we're close. We can we can get there in time to set up a snare or grab them before they get there. But it's also great for those traders who now can fly around in a cargo ship filled with let's say some random different commodities, and just kind of watching like a stock tracker and
yeah,
just saying like, all right, well, I got
yep,
I got all this stuff loaded in the back now. I'm just gonna see plan out my route, plan out my day. Let me pour my cup of coffee, and now go out there to really min max and stuff. And that's honestly what a lot of these industrialists do. Is it's the reason they do RMC and stuff is they're just trying to min max, And you'll
yeah,
get those guys out there that just like to fill up their cat or C2 or whole C or whatever with a bunch of random commodities, and now they know I can go to XYZ place in this order and make my own little route here, which is now easier for us, or not easier for us, or harder for us because they're more randomized. It's not like we know if we sit on this snare line, people will be selling RMC all the
right,
time. Now it's
yeah,
just we don't know where they're going to be flying to from next because it just depending on the price. So we're actually always going to be like one step
we got to
behind them.
race.
Yeah.
Yep,
So I think that kind of change there, has a lot of lasting effects overall on the entire game, not just that one little dynamic. So hopefully, man, hopefully we see that stuff. Hopefully the when the Polaris is done at IAE this year and they have all those assets now, they can, trickle down now and do the Galaxy and
yeah.
the what's the other one, the Perseus and stuff like that. Hopefully they can get those out the door relatively quick and stuff, and we'll see. But I'm looking forward to the Perseus, man. That's gonna be that's gonna be a nice ship to see pull up there and really with a relatively small crew requirement for it. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's a
So.
devastator.
Well, I think on that end, we'll just we'll end it there. This is fun, man. We've been talking about doing something like this for a while.
Yeah,
We're gonna
we
try
have.
to get more people on here and stuff like that, and talk about things that don't normally get seen and talked about because we've seen all the talk now about master modes and a lot of the PvP orgs are giving their 2 cents on it and stuff, and they're obviously more knowledgeable in that aspect than I am. So I'm not even gonna bother talking about that. But as it relates to piracy, it's nice to have these conversations and put things out there and stuff where we can each bounce things off each other's heads and stuff, and it gets you thinking, on how we can improve our play style for the game with with the dynamics that we have right now and stuff. So
And hopefully it gives the industrialists a little bit more of an insight into piracy and what we do and why we do it. We're not
uh,
we're not
the
specifically trying to be jerks,
no, the
but
industrial.
it's nothing personal. We just want your shit.
What's kind of funny though, we talk about it all the time. We joke about it is the industrialists put out all their videos on how to min max for mining and salvage and all that stuff out there, and we watch those videos to see where they're going and what they're doing.
That's right.
But on the same time too is we don't hide what we do. There's no pirate
Oh
trade
yeah.
secrets that we have. There's no like hidden mechanic that we know.
Nope.
It's simply just trying to find where you guys are at. And if
Yep.
you want to see how we set up our snare lines and how we do boardings and how we, do active hunting, you can watch not just my videos or your videos, but there's hundreds of thousands of
Oh
videos
yeah.
out there, of everybody. There's streamers that just go out there and do nothing but piracy live stream, and you can watch it, in real time and learn and use that as the information, the intel you need just to avoid it. So, which is honestly what's kind of nice about this game is the fact that you can be a pirate and watch the industrial videos to learn what they're
Goes both
doing,
ways.
and yep, and vice versa. Just like PvPers, you want to learn how to be a better fighter and stuff like that. There's a bunch of videos out there to show you how different mechanics work and stuff, and make you a better player at the end of the day. So
Yep.
it's pretty good, man. So well, with that, Wardawg, thank you for hanging
No
out,
problem.
man.
My pleasure.
And
Thank you.
let's we'll do this again.
Right on.
All right, brother. I'll see you.
Okay. Take it easy.
See you, bud.